Negro, you know, excuse the expression, but it wasn't like these people here. It was that. It was that. It was like we had our faults, but it seemed like the people were trying their best to live Islam.
When you in that camaraderie, tell us about your dawah effort and soldiering and these types of things.
Well, when I first came in, as you know, all the brothers took papers.
Right.
And scared to death. Muhammad speaks. And first time I went back to Turo with I think I may have had 20, 50, I don't remember. You talking about hard. I said, man, this is real. It was difficult trying to settle Muhammad speaks. And, but I believed in my soul that we had the truth. And so it was really putting me on a foundation to say, people don't know what's right. That's what it was telling me subconsciously. So that experience led me, I was working on a railroad. And at that time they said, that's a good job. I was working on a railroad, but I wanted to do propagation all the time. And so the brother told me, he said, you know, you can actually make a living selling papers. I said, no, I can't make no living selling. I can't sell 50 a week. And but what happened, that experience led to myself, Abaz, some other, we went all the way from 50 to 1,500. We were selling 1,500 papers a week. And it just made me, oh man, I from that point on, I can sell anything. Because people were, you know how people would do us, take the paper, throw it back at you. When we hit 1,000 papers a week, one person, when I hit that, my confidence was set for life. You couldn't tell me I could sell anything. Because people didn't want, some people would say, I like this. But we had to convince them. And then I understood what selling was about. Selling is about convincing the person that you're talking to that your product is that special. And if you can convince them, they'll work with you. Even if they say, I don't like your religion. If they find out that your product is something that they need, they will work with you. And myself, Abaz, Bayrock, Saeed Salah, yourself, but Abaz, myself, Raoul, we did it just for a living. That's all we did. We didn't do anything. And so, I mean, it led to that. And so it was like, it freed me. I don't know how to explain it, you know, even though I'm working a job now. I mean, we all working jobs. I shouldn't say it like that, what I'm saying. But in my mind, I felt like if I had to be put in a situation where I didn't have a job, I could still make it. That's what I thought in my mind.
In addition to that, tell us about the types of jobs that you held.
That's what I'm saying. See,
I went up to.
Yes, sir. I went from the railroad. When I quit the railroad, I sold papers, and from then I worked for myself. From then on, I never, you know, it was years before I went to FedEx in 2000. But I hadn't worked an 8-hour job. You know, I hadn't done it. I had just did whatever I could do on my own, and I was blessed by God to have a wife that didn't want to kill me. She was patient enough with me to doing that struggling. You know, I did the papers. We had a program here at the masjid. It was called Youth Self-Help. Prior to Youth Self-Help, we did tapes, 8-track tapes and so forth. I know you remember that. I know Abaz remember. And then I went into real estate. And Brother Wali and myself, Brother Talia, we were selling the, I don't know how but they were like artifacts. Nefertiti and murals and so forth. We did that for a minute. But it was we were all working for ourselves. That's what we believed we could do that. And
so basically all your working experience was a part of this community. It was one way or another.
Yes, sir. Totally that. Then once I...
so eggs.
Sir?
Eggs.
Yes. And so, well, I didn't get a chance to sell eggs. I missed the eggs, but I sold bean pies. You know, I missed the eggs. You all had the eggs, but I had the bean pies. You know? And so, and then we did steak and take. And, but most of my experience has been here. You know, I was either working in the masjid or something related to it. And then in 1988, Allah blessed me to get my real estate license, and that was still working, what I consider working for myself.
You attend mosque number 55 was Minister Sharif there?
Yes.
At that time? Okay. And then you came under the administration and leadership of Imam Nuri Salaam. Tell us about the impact that Imam Nuri Salaam had on your life.
Imam Nuri was a personality that his personality for me was so commanding. He was the one who told me, he said, Brother Abdullah, you can, because he had the heavy voice, he said, Brother Abdullah, you can make it on your own, brother. But you're scared. You don't believe you can make it. Allah's God. He said, you don't breathe, you breathe McDonald's or something like that. He told me something like that. E-I-E-I. He said, he actually sung that song. E-I-E-I-E-I-O. Had a nigga head. And it actually, believe it or not, pissed me off. I was like, man. And I told him, I said, I don't like that. And he said, what you don't like about it? I said, I think you're making fun of me. He said, well, I ain't making fun of you, but you act like you can't make it. And I said, I believe I can make it, but you ain't got to make fun of me. Like that. Because see, right at that time, I had gone to McDonald's hamburger place and was working. This was like 74, 75. This was 75. And he said, old McDonald had a car, had a nigga here, a nigga there, everywhere nigga. And I just didn't like that. I was like, man. And so he said to me, I was not his assistant imam, but I told him, I said, I don't like that. And he said, and you got nerve enough to talk back? I said, and that's how we got to be friends. I told him, I said, no, you ain't going to be talking to me like that. He said, what you mean you ain't going to talk to me like that? I said, you ain't going to talk to me like that. I said, I ain't no nigga. First of all, I ain't no nigga. I didn't come here to be nobody's nigga. And so we hit it off. And then he told me, he said, it's kind of interesting. There's many people. See, on Florida Street, you remember, some people remember that. If the minister didn't like you, or somebody didn't like you, they take you around to the back door and dust you. And I was at the front door, and they took, I want to say it was Brother Raouf, but it might not have been Raouf. I said, I don't want to lie on him. But some brothers took a brother to the back door, and they dusted him. They whooped him right there. And I was coming from over Terrell. And so I told the brother, I said, I sure hope y'all don't do that to me. And he went back and told the minister. So they brought me into the minister's office. They said, brother, did you say that? I said, yeah. I said, I hope nobody hit me for nothing. I said, I don't mind getting hit for something. But I said, I don't care. I didn't come over here to be no slave. And that's how Imam Nuri and I got to be friends. Because he said, well, you brave enough to talk to me like that, brother. I was like, nah, I hope y'all don't whoop me like this. He said, what you going to do? I said, I'm going to lock that front door and go to the back door and set fire. And Imam Nuri was such a, because, he had been shot. And Imam Nuri, he appreciated that. He might would be mad at you, but if you had courage, he liked that courage. That's the way he was. I found that out about him. He might disagree with you because he didn't like what I was saying, but he was like, well, you would do that? I said, yes, sir. I said, if I get hit up in here for nothing, I'm going to block the door and let all the sisters out. I said, every nigga that hit me, I'm going to do something bad. So we got to be friends. So later on, that's how he asked me to be his assistant. Because he said, I'm looking for an assistant. He said, I need somebody with courage. And I said, well, if that's what you're looking for. I said, well, I don't want to be no, So it was like a blessing. Because he helped me understand that's what we had among all of us. You were like that, Abraham was like that, Kareem was like that, as I got to know Wally. Bayrock, Frank, all these brothers that I met from Memphis had courage. And that was another thing I liked. This was a very courageous community. Very, very. And we had been in, I don't know if I'm on the same subject or not, but that endeared it to me. You know, it was a lot of courageous brothers. A lot of courage. Because you couldn't go out there, as you know, you couldn't go out there with Muhammad's speech and be scared. People talk crazy to you.
Imam Nuri Salaam, what do you attest to his credit of establishing this Masjid Al-Mu'minun?
Wow. He was truly a leader, and he believed in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I mean, he really believed in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So much so, Allah blessed me in the job that I have right now. The brothers were ordering some tapes, and in those tapes, they had Minister Malcolm and different people. And the shooting that took place, I have at home now a DVD where Imam Nuri had been shot. It just so happened. I mean, this is just coincidence. And they were showing he had been shot 3 times. And so I said to myself, anybody, he went and faced, just say if the police came out here right now, and you run out there, it takes some courage. And they said, well, the brother, some people would say you were ignorant. But you have to think too, it took a little courage. It wasn't, he went, not just him now, it wasn't just, it was the brothers. They went out there and faced that. And Nuri was one of those people. He put his, that was in California. And in that DVD that they had, it was just a short clip. But I knew his face, you know. It was just a short part. And several brothers got killed. There was several brothers that
Compton.
That was Compton, sure was, yeah. And so I'm saying that to say, when he came to Memphis, Imam W.D. Muhammad sent him here. I remember him showing me the letter and so forth. So he was a courageous man, and he helped instill, in my opinion, that in us. You know, we already had it. I think we already had it. But I think he was a person that, so he told myself, Brother William, not just us, but all of us, yourself, all of us who were around, we became his student imams, right? And he told us, brothers, y'all got to move out. Ain't going to be one imam here. Y'all got to go to another city. And that's what we did. Now, but William stayed. The rest of us came back. He's the only one that really stayed, but all of us went out. I can't remember the city that you went to, but I went to Tupelo, but William went to Greenville, and Clarksdale, and Bayrock went to West Memphis. Saeed went somewhere. Naeem went somewhere. Everybody had a city. I can't remember, you know. But he told us, go establish this. And then when we went to try to do that, that's more than a notion. You know, so that's not, I found out personally, that's not easy. People think it's easy. They think you can just go to a city, nobody's there, and establish it. So that's not, I mean, it can be done, obviously, because it's done here. But to do it, it does take some effort. And for him, my respect for him grew. Not just for him, I began to understand the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I remember saying to myself, he must have been a giant. I mean, even today, when I think about the Honorable, he had to be a giant to have done what he did under circumstances that nobody wants you doing what you're doing and establish across this country what we have now. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad did that with Allah's help. That's a giant, but people don't give him credit. It's bigger to me than this is. You know, this is just my thinking. I'm not. You know, some people would disagree. It's bigger than what Dr. King did because of the strength it takes. You know, that took for what Dr. Elijah Muhammad did. That took a lot of strength, and they chased him all the time. You know, I don't want to get into that, but that's just how I felt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Tell us about your ideas about family life? When did you first decide in your mind that I'm going to take a wife, or have X amount of children, I'm going to do this for live, I'm going to do that for your family plans? Tell us about that.
I met a sister. My wife knows this, so I'm telling off. I met a sister and married her. She was our secretary, Sister Khalila. And things didn't turn out quite like she and I thought. And so when I met Sister Constance, it was such a breath. It was because the first situation kind of disappointed me, and I guess I disappointed her too, but it made me understand how valuable women are, because I don't think I understood it. We can't make it without them.
My mind is saying, don't say that, but maybe that's a little strong. But we need. What is this? From my understanding, we need that other half. You need that woman, and the family is what it's all about. The family is what this is. All of this that we're doing, this interview, the life that we've had behind us, it's all about family. It's about brothers coming together, sisters coming together, and us working together to try to make a life for our future. It doesn't mean that you're going to agree. Prophet Muhammad said, peace be upon him, marriage is half of the religion. So it taught me, being married to Christ, taught me that you're not going to always agree. So if you have a disagreement with one of your brothers or something like that, that's normal. It ain't abnormal. Well, at first I thought it was abnormal. I thought, well, Muslims ain't got no business arguing.